What do people want to see in comics? What do you want? Do you have a feeling like the publishers really understand what you want? But maybe the bigger question is, do you know what you want? There's at least a lot of comments that have surfaced lately suggesting that most people don't think you do know what you want, and I'm going to ask, do you? Hey, everybody, this is Perch. One of the comments that has kind of followed comics a bunch over the years has been this idea of you don't know what you want, or fans don't really know what they want, but we know, meaning the writer, the publisher, we know what they want, and we're going to give them what they need. This whole idea of want and need, it feels like I remember there was like a romantic comedy back in the early 90s, and I was dating this girl, in this romantic comedy, or maybe it was a drama, I don't know, it was a garbage movie at any rate. They're like, but do you want me or do you need me? And it's like, and then they struggle over what want means and what needs means, and I'm like, Jesus. I mean, if I was this guy in this conversation in this movie, I'd be like, I neither want nor need you. I'm going to something simpler. This is too much nonsense, too many word games with this entire relationship here. But at any rate, those word games have continued. And in comics, there is this idea of, we don't get the fans what they want, we give them what they need. And then that's kind of morphed over the years, and it came about in a bunch of interviews that were recently posted of most fans don't know what they need, or most fans don't know what they want, are the statements that come out. And I read whenever I read that, I roll my eyes every single time. It always feels like so condescending, like, "Oh, I'm going to tell you what you're too dumb to really know what you really want. So this is why we're giving you Civil War II. That's what you need." So I always roll my eyes, but I have to ask because I've also had enough customers come into the store and say I'm not really sure what I'm looking for, or kind of struggle with this question. So maybe the publisher is right, and maybe a lot of people don't know what they want. If that is the case, and here's what we're going to discuss over the next few minutes, I don't think that the publishers know what the customers want either. I don't think anybody knows what the customers want, but I think all of that, kind of like that romantic movie back in the 90s, is putting way too much effort into a really simple question. What do most people want? Well, they want to enjoy the comic they're reading. They want to find fulfillment out of it. It doesn't mean necessarily it's a happy story or an unhappy story, or a horror or a superhero book, whatever else. They want to pick up the comic. They want to and put some time into that comic. They want to read it, and they want to feel like they didn't throw their money out the window. That's what they want. I don't. It doesn't have to be much more complicated than that. If you're an editor at one of these comic publishers, small or big, I think that you should be looking at the content and the scripts and things that are coming in and saying, if I was a customer, if I was a reader, and I picked this comic up and I paid some money for it, $3, $4, whatever it happens to be, would I feel like I just got kicked in the balls, or would I feel like I wasted my time? Or would I be satisfied that I got a decent story? Um, I think that question isn't being asked enough, and I think it gets even more complicated when you get to a lot of the deconstruction, where you take a book like, I don't know, I hate to pick on some of these things, but take a book like Ten of Swords for the moment, and all the chapters there. And now I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine a bunch of people in the X-Writer room kind of tossing some of these ideas around. It's like, hey, we're going to do a tournament. Oh, that'll be cool. And the mutants have to find their swords. Oh, that's cool too. And they'll all have different swords, and there'll be a quest to get the swords and assemble them and come together. And then we're going to have these enemies. We're going to invest some time into their personalities and make them kind of rich and exciting. And then we're going to have a big fight, and that's what we're going to do. And then people chime in with like, well, what if we got one of the teams to go on a secret mission to try and infiltrate and disrupt the proceedings? What if we did that? Oh, I know. What if getting the swords is not very easy? What about that? What if we had them have a dinner party during the event? I mean, these ideas get tossed around, and before you know it, we're at 22 to 24 issues, depending on how you count. And you're like, okay, well now the whole thing, this idea has gotten spread way the F out. Like picture it in your mind this way. If this Ten of Swords storyline was happening back in the 80s and it was just playing out in a monthly comic, meaning every month there's a new chapter here, we would be at this for 2 years. That's what you're dealing with, 2 years in a single comic. So when you ask that question of, hey, you just paid your $4, whatever it happens to be, and you bought this comic, are you happy with what you got? Some people are going to be happy with what they got. They pick up that issue of Marauders and they have a dinner party, and Wolverine's eating some squid urine, and it's a good read. It's character development, and you're getting kind of, people are, these moments have room to breathe. We get a multi-page sequence of Storm dancing with Death, and that's impactful, and it's a good moment, and that's all fine, right? That all can be what appeals to you, but generally speaking, decompression and a lot of these other things have caused these stories to stretch out. So if you just pick up a single issue and you read it, it doesn't feel like what you want. And so I'm talking about, that's a question to you. Do you know what you want in a comic? Is it more complicated than, I want some action, I want to have some story development, I want to have some moments that I'll remember, and I want to feel not bad about my purchase? I think that, there was somebody who would come in and say, if there's any comics where Rogue and Gambit are in that comic and they're having a relationship and there's romance going on, I want that comic. I love Rogue and Gambit. I'm a big fan of the romance. It's what I live for. I want that comic. Great. That you know what you want, and people can provide it. But like with some of these comics, do people want decompression? Do they want, like you hop over to Action Comics? I think Action Comics is the one with John Romita Jr. Maybe it's the other way around. Do you want several issues slowly kind of having the Superman family quip at each other while they're trying to figure out what to do with the Red Smoke Lady and the evil criminal boss who bought the Daily Planet? I mean, like the storyline of the feds are in the Daily Planet with the criminal boss, and is the Daily Planet solvent or not, or what's going on there? It's been like 4 comics, and we're still in like the main bullpen, and people are staring at each other trying to figure out what's going on. Like, how long are we going to do this? Like, is that what you want? Are you getting something out of that comic? Are you getting the journey out of the comic? Like I said, I hate it when I see that we're going to give the fans what they need, not what they want, because then I go and I pick up some of these comics and I'm like, nobody needs this. This isn't what anybody needs. This isn't working. Now, every single comic out there has its fans. It's absolutely true that it for whatever it is, whether you love Tom King, hate Tom King, there's somebody out there who loved that Bat Cat romance and everything that went along with it. Those people are out there. Are they the majority of people? I don't know. Probably not from what we've seen, but maybe. But the point is, do you feel like the publisher knows what you want? Do you trust them that they're going to give you what they want? And then the second one is, do you know what you want? Like, could you identify sight unseen a comic, a pitch, and say, yep, that's what I want right there. This is what I need. Can you do that? Do you have that good idea in your head? All these things, it always feels to me like people are making it way more complicated, just way more complicated than it needs to be. I don't think that comics are as hard as they often come across. It often feels to me like, there's a lot of second guessing and, 4-dimensional chess going on for you could have Superman and Brainiac's got a plot and he's going to blow some stuff up and we found a new twist on it, and a lot of people will like that. I don't know. Not everybody. Again, not everybody likes everything. But I don't know. I just see a lot of swings and misses in current comics, all under the guise of we're giving the fans what they want. But you're clearly not. If your comic's coming in at 30, 40,000 copies sold, You're not giving the fans what they want. You're giving some, but you're not giving anywhere close to what you should, what they want. So then I don't think you know what you want. I don't think you know what your customers want. That's my point here. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts below in the comments. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Most importantly, though, figure out what you want. But thanks for listening.